I'd like to call this Thursday, March 5th meeting of the Finance Committee to order. Tonight will be following the published and posted agenda. Will be recorded for viewing currently and in the future by Chelmsford Telemedia. We will also be available via Zoom this evening. Our first item on the agenda is approval of minutes from February 26, 2026. Has everyone had an opportunity to review them?
Yes.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the Chelmsford Finance Committee meeting minutes of February 26, 2026.
I second it.
Any discussion? Seeing none, do a roll call. Anita's on Zoom this evening. Anita, can you hear us?
Doesn't seem like she is.
Doesn't appear she can.
Yeah.
She's not muted either. Well, I'll do the roll call in.
Aye.
Dave, Sam,
Aye.
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 Anita?
She can't hear
She can't hear us.
Can you hear us?
All right, I'm an aye. We're gonna have to, as far as the vote's concerned, we have to note that she wasn't able to vote in the minutes.
Can't hear you.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, okay.
You are.
You can hear us now? Do you have a vote on the
Can't
minutes?
hear you.
Oh, but we can
Can you
hear
hear me?
you.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me.
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Okay, that's gonna be fun.
Ah.
Might be a blessing.
She can't hear you. Well, she can go on YouTube and hear you 2 seconds later.
I'm going to try to dial in, see if I can hear you that way.
Yeah, why don't you try
Okay.
dialing in? The phone number's on the agenda. But you can't hear me, though.
Yeah,
You
we can hold a
you
sign
can
up.
maybe
if you
chat,
I can mute her. She can't hear us, though.
want. Well, we can
but she
hold
can
a
see
sign
it.
up,
She
dial
would not
in.
be able to see the chat. There's no chat.
Maybe.
Here you go, Jim.
Hold the sign.
Dial in.
How about we send her a text message?
Yeah, that's
Want me to do it?
Yeah, could you?
Yeah, that would probably be the more appropriate way of doing it.
I can remove her.
Maybe if she logs in again, it'll...
Yeah. It says she's connecting to audio, so.
There she is.
Yeah, no sound at all, though.
No, we can't hear.
No.
Did she hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, there we
hear
go.
me?
There we
Perfect.
go.
Yep, we can hear you.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So-
All right. We're
So,
there.
I see, are you an aye
Sorry
on the
about
minutes?
that. Sure. Aye.
That's the longest roll call vote we've ever taken. All right. I would say moving right along, however. Next, we have a review of the fiscal year 27 budget for the Department of Public Works, and with us this evening is Director of Public Works, Christine Clancy.
Good evening. I'll try to go quickly too because we do have a snow upon us coming on later tonight. But no, thank you. So this year's budget is very similar to some of the previous year's presentations, really looking at a maintaining level of service and level funding where we can, really maintaining level of service. Next slide, please. So what I'll do is I'll provide an overview of each of our divisions, really broken down or categories as we've presented the budget in previous years. The administration, engineering, the highway division, snow and ice, which has its own category. Public trees, solid waste and recycling. Facilities, public buildings and parks are kind of rolled into one category. We've been trying to consolidate some of those cost items. Streetlights, and then the two enterprise funds, which those are self-funded, sewer enterprise and stormwater enterprise. And you can ask questions anytime along the process too. So just to provide an overview, our overall budget, looking at all of the divisions in its entirety, just under $21.3 million. And that is a 3.9% increase from last year. That's overall. I'll dive into each division. This just shows the distribution. The largest amount, $9.5 million, that's what I call a DPW, but that is the roll-up of the snow and ice, the highway, the admin engineering. So that is, like, I'll break that down. Separate from that, we have facilities, which is separated out at $2.8 million. And then the two enterprise funds. So the sewer is the second highest expenditure is $6.7 million. And then the stormwater, which is our newest division, at $2.19 million. And really, maintain level of service is really our focus. So the administration engineering budget overall is a decrease of 5.79%, and that is really because looking at when we first put together the budget, we were trying to see where we could save money, and we have 4 engineers that are paid out of the admin engineering budget. A lot of that time is allocated to the sewer division. So we took basically one of the salaries and put it into the sewer division. So that's why you see a decrease of 5.79%. Other than that, there's really nominal or no changes in the budget for the administration and engineering budget. The next division is the highway division within the DPW budget. Overall, this is an 8.25 division increase. And it's just to kind of break down how we get to the 8.25 division increase is there's just 4% of that is salary adjustments, which is typical with grade increases in the cost of living adjustments. 15.66% is the largest amount. So under the expense category, under the contract services, if you look at last year or this current fiscal year, we're spending $140,000. This coming year, that number goes up to $350,000. And that significant increase is really twofold. One is we've previously been paying some of these services through ARPA or other grant funding opportunities, and that is ending this year. So that does pop up a couple times in the DPW budget. Is ARPA is done after really this year, so we have to continue those costs, and those costs are folded into the DPW budget. So that is one of the reasons. The other reason, and there is a warrant article on tonight as well that I'll explain, is that we are expanding the treatment of, so 54 Richardson is where we have the PFAS mitigation efforts that we're doing. We have had a successful plant on site to help mitigate that PFAS contamination. We do have to extend that with a second well and extend the limits of where we're doing that mitigation, and that's going towards the dog park. So that warrant article I'll talk about tonight, but by extending this area of mitigation, we're extending the number of wells that we're sampling, which has a significant increased cost. So while we were probably around $250,000 a year in previous years, even though, and it shows 140, but that was supplemented with ARPA, is that now cost is going up to about $350,000 for next year. I hope it goes down in future years. One other item that we're exploring is in order to operate the PFAS treatment plant that we have at 54 Richardson, it has to be inspected weekly by someone with a grade 2 wastewater license. And that's something, so we hire Weston Sampson. We are looking at that to see if it's something that we could train someone in-house and do that in time. That would probably save us potentially $70,000 a year. So that is something that we're looking at, but we have to look at the training needs in transitioning that. So that's just something looking ahead in future year budgets. Are there any questions with the highway salary, just because that is one of our larger ones?
Just when you're going to be talking about PFAS stuff later.
The separate warrant article I'll be talking about later. I can try to address anything now too, but the warrant article will focus on that later. Yep. Snow and ice. So this is a budget that, if you go back to the 5-year history, has been both level funded and level serviced. This year is probably an extraordinary year. It hasn't been like this since 2015. Every year we seem to be having just enough money or turning back money. This is a year where, and there's a memo before the select board this coming Monday night, that we are facing a deficit with our current year. Just because we're facing that deficit this year doesn't mean I increase the budget right now, because who knows what we're going to have next year. So we look more at trends, and so I'm hopeful that this is a kind of a blip in the like the overall trend, and that we will reevaluate it as we continue to go next year. If next year we still see a lot more snow and ice events, I mean, we're running like 10 to 15 a year, and we're well over 20 this year. So, and because an event can be as small as an icing event, it could be we had a blizzard, that large storm, we had 20 inches of snow. So each storm's varying. This year, the storms fell on weekends, on holidays. Like I said, we have many icing events that are costly to us because we have to, continuously put salt on the ground, which is expensive. So we are proposing to level fund it for now, and then as we look at the next year or two, if we see a trend, then we would ask for an increase. The next line item is the public trees, and this is requested to be level funded in $90,000. This is really for the maintenance of trees that we have within our right-of-way and town buildings. If we do have money left over, sometimes DPW itself will do plantings. We've been fortunate to have many earmarks or grants and planted many trees, over 100 last year. We're close to being on target for 100 trees this year through various programs and grants. So that's really, that's separate from this line item. While we do try to maybe do a handful, sometimes with Arbor Day we'll do one. The DPW will plant like 5 to 10 a year. This line item is for response to, if we have microbursts, if we have any storm damage. We also have an on-call contract where we do pruning throughout town as needed. There's also trees within the right-of-way or town properties that are in dead or in decay and need to be removed. So sometimes we'll have an arborist respond to that.
What kind of trees do you plant?
So we do have with the tree committee, we have a tree planting list that we establish each year. So last year it was like hackberry, Princeton elm. We have a whole list of trees. So really trying to promote biodiversity, but also native. But now I guess that's a question of what is native too.
They're all deciduous trees, not evergreens.
We have planted some evergreens, like the town common, but mostly deciduous, correct. Maple is another example, sugar maple, tupelo. So we do have a list on the tree committee website.
Thank you.
I think, like I said, so this is really, this is used annually through through what in-house and with our on-call tree contractor. Solid waste recycling. The overall amount for this is $4.6 million, and really the increase is a 3.19% increase. And we did look at this year's budget just to see really what are we tracking for tonnage use and what are the tonnage costs, and that's really how we calculate the need of the budget request. If you remember last year, we did adjust some of these. Some of the services we were offering. So we're only down to one household hazardous waste day. That is continuing for this year. So when I say maintain level of service, that's based on the service slight service reduction last year. We are in our 4th year of our 5th contract with E.O. Harvey. That's our collection. The E.O. Harvey is the one that collects the trash, and they do also the yard waste and the recycling. All of our trash is disposed of through Cavanta, so that is paid separately. So that's why you see a waste disposal and a waste contract line item. The trash rate is $106 a ton, and that is adjusted annually by the Consumer Price Index, but that's what we're estimating. And then the recycling rate, this is something that changes monthly. It all depends on the industry, like what's the resale value of cardboard or of aluminum. And right now that's $132 a ton. So it's more expensive recycling. But that is, so we do have to just factor that in when we're evaluating our costs.
So you pay $132 a ton, or you get $132?
Hey.
Hey, I think that is something that people do not understand. They think, recycling's free. No, it's not.
So right now it is more expensive, but there's this sustainable element where it's, you know.
Oh, no, no,
yeah,
I-
But yes,
I-
but yes, it is more expensive currently. Only going back a couple of years ago was $99 or $90. So it changes. So we just track the market. But it is becoming more expensive right now. It all depend on the the reuse of those materials.
And and the recycling is no longer separated. It has to be, it's all mixed, and that probably affects the price as well.
It's really the price is really affected by the market. Like, so I don't think we're. And I'm not going to pretend to be an economist, but you know, we're not. Things aren't going as to China or to other countries. So I think that it has more of it's industry, a whole industry related cost.
They're not taking our plastic no more.
Plastics are not being recycled as much, aluminum, and really everything is impacted. But and I did ask, and I didn't get it before this meeting, is like a breakdown of each one of those costs, because I'm interested to see how much it costs for cardboard. This is the blended rate, the 132. So we are going to explore that. But I guess the good news is I'm carrying 132. So if for some reason the market changes and now it's only costing $90, then we'll see a savings next year. So I try to be conservative because 130 is what we've been seeing the past few months, several months.
Thank you.
And in terms of the contract, fourth year, when do you expect to go and start to negotiate that? And what's the market right now for that contract?
So we'll probably start end of this year. We'll start developing the contract and putting it out next year. So we want time to be able to negotiate that. So it would be next year. That would be early next year. Would be, I believe we do it. I think it was April last. So it would probably be early next year. Yeah. So we'll start at the end of this year. And I don't know the exact time frame, but we don't want to be putting it out 2 months before it expires. We want to have time to figure out exactly what we need. And we do have to go through RFP process. Yeah, and also they have to have in the proposals they have to have a commitment for vehicles, and so it takes time on their end and also on our end in preparation. So we'll be starting, I guess, is this fall, and then putting something out, whether it be winter or spring.
Do we have the capability to see what other towns' contracts are with them?
Yeah, so we actually are part of various with Covanta, we're with those 8 communities. So we do talk often and share a lot of this information. And I guess the thing is I'm hearing is the contracts are going out now even more expensive than what we're paying. We're I guess getting a deal right now. It's just the costs are going up because these costs were prepared 4 or 5 years ago. So we are tracking that, and that's something we'll continue. So there's a lot of information with the state data. Like we have a database that tracks that, but then we'll also be reaching out to some communities just anytime. Say, does anyone recently rebid this, and it is becoming costly to communities, which is why you're starting to see communities have there's various communities having different approaches. Throw as you pay as you throw, or reduction of limiting what you can, how many bags you can throw away. One thing we are doing too is we are increasing our cost of the overflow bags from $2 to $3. This is something that most communities are doing to try to promote, think about it before you fill up a $3 bag. Also, our communities are coming up with trash fees. And because it is something, this is a cost. $4.6 million is a lot, but if that cost goes up, how are we going to pay for that? So it's something that we're looking into.
Okay.
David, is like the fire engine and the school bus thing. The industry is consolidated by acquisitions and mergers. So when you go out to bid, there's usually 2 or 3 bidders.
Any other questions with solid waste and recycling?
The only other thought I had on that is sometimes, depending on, I think this might be a little bit of a different situation, but sometimes you can understand, like, we can give a little bit of economics in the short term, knowing that we're almost to the end of the contract, in hopes to negotiate favorably on a longer term contract at a more discounted rate, right? So we give up a little bit of economics in the short term for maybe a year to lock in a 5-year longer term agreement that's below market value of where we are right now.
But you have to bid it. You can't.
We have to do it. We have to do an RFP.
And say,
Right.
Yeah. So
you
we're.
want to negotiate when you have to go to sealed bids.
Yeah, we have to do sealed. So that's the difference
That's-
between
it's
us.
Not
That's
the
the-
same as.
between public and private.
Just
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, it's very different. And one other thing I did not mention too is that other communities are exploring is really the cost is in the tonnage. You know, so if you have less waste, you're gonna have, spending less. And so communities are starting to do the composting, which we do have preferred rate with Black Earth. Some communities are offering curbside composting, so we've could we get a grant to offer that to the community? So to, you know, as a pilot program in a smaller amount, it's a thing, you know, right now you put out your recycling, your trash, now do you want to put out curbside composting? That's just, you know, it's a big change, but that is also a direction communities are taking. So another thing to look at as an opportunity.
Do you have any?
Same problem there, Dave, there's only so many places you can bring the trash, because
That's
there's only
right.
2 waste energy plants, and Massachusetts is not permitting anymore.
Mhm.
And the only other thing is to ship it out through rail, but that has a totally other problem.
Do you have any, from towns that are offering the curbside, do they have any data on how much tonnage that recycling, that composting took out of the stream?
So the industry is saying that composting reduces your waste by 30%. So think about 30% of your cost. So you're talking maybe like, you could be talking $500,000 you'd be saving out of our contracts at least. But we haven't seen the actual numbers. So I know Medford did a pilot and they offered it to anyone in the town that wanted to sign up. But I think they're still, this is the year they're tracking the numbers. So hopefully we get some data. But it's supposed to, 30 to 40% is what the industry is saying. We have to, I guess, get more data. It's still a new, depends, it really depends how much the community is embracing it. Like Cambridge started this several years ago, and they did see a reduction in their waste. Anything else? All right, so now moving on to municipal facilities. So facilities is separated out of the DPW budget, the $2.8 million. This is a 5.65 overall increase, and the reason for it, I'll go over like the primary reasons for that. So in a couple of slides, I'll go through parks. So over the years, we've consolidated some of the accounts as we show them in our budget. We've broken out public buildings, and we had a line item for Old North and the Old North Town Hall. Parks budget a couple of years ago, the facilities, parks salary was pulled out and put into facilities. What we still had was some of the expenses from parks. So what we've been doing is trying to consolidate that over the years. So from the parks budget, we are moving for $43,000 from the parks budget over to the facilities budget. And they all work, like saying the parks all really work together. It makes sense to have in this one location. The Old North Town Hall budget, we've taken $20,000 from that, really eliminating that line item and moving that to facilities. Minor adjustment in the overtime for overtime under salaries. We are seeing some, we have more events, festivals in town, so there's a small increase for that. There is a small reduction by $15,000 in the solar array maintenance line item, and that's because we are this year doing 2 large roof projects, the South Orr roof project and part of the McCarthy. Those solar panel systems will be taken off, disposed of, and new solar panels will be going on. So we anticipate a reduction in maintenance because we'll be getting new panels, and those projects do come with a 1-year maintenance plan. So that's why we have a reduction there. There's an increase in the building maintenance line item, and that really is in the amount of $105,000, and that is for the HVAC. So the need is, under ARPA, we have carried HVAC service contracts. We do have an HVAC technician in-house, but we need to supplement that. So that has been supplemented by ARPA for several years, and that ends this year. So we are folding that into this cost. So that's why you see a large increase in that line item. And then one other item to mention is contract services. That's the small designs we do, or sometimes abatement on projects. So that is something that's always used. If you look at the actuals from last year, we try to match that. So that is a request of $40,000, an increase of $10,000 from last year. In public buildings, this is really for town offices and the custodial cleaning contract that we have, and also any expenses for, we have a bunch of motor pool vehicles here. So that budget is increasing just slightly, 1.74%. Really level funding and level service there. And then I mentioned the Old North Town Hall budget. We just really eliminating that and taking that $20,000 and putting it to facilities. Parks, so this really is all allocated now moving forward. So the staff budget was reallocated in FY '25 over to facilities. This year, it just made sense. I wanted everything over to facilities. So we're moving $43,000 of expenses over to facilities. Street lighting, level service and level funded. We have 2,200 lights across town, and we are maintaining this. So as far as this, we look at the LED replacements. We do them manually, but as far as replacements, we're not seeing a trend. So in the next 5 to 10 years, we will have to do replacements across the town. We haven't seen an uptick in replacements, maybe just very slightly. So we're tracking this. So I do anticipate to spend the same amount of money this year as next year. But as soon as we start to see more replacement needs, well, that's when we look at a capital plan to replace, and probably over several years.
Do you typically replace them only when they're out, or do you have a rolling schedule?
Right now, only when they're out.
Uh-huh.
Only when they're out, yeah.
That makes sense.
Do you anticipate this will be affected if the bylaw that's before the town meeting this spring is put into place?
Not for our current plan. If we do a full replacement, maybe, but no, not for.
Okay.
I believe that warrant article does not impact the street. It's more town buildings only. I think it's exempt
Only the
from
large-
streetlights.
Only the large floodlights, the National Grid, which are few. but not-
Yeah, so if it's a floodlight attached to a pole looking at a business, then yes, but from a town streetlight, no.
Okay.
At town buildings, over time, I mean, but no, not for streetlights. But I guess if we do a full town-wide, I think we would look to see, okay, what's our new standard? Sewer division, so this is one of our enterprise funds, so it's fully paid by the sewer rates that you pay. Overall, just under 4.5% increase. And I guess, just way to put this, so I looked up our average sewer bill, and the average sewer bill is $445. So if it's going at 4.5%, we set these rates in July, and it is based on the volume we receive. So it's used. So right now this is an estimate. So if we have a higher volume, then that percentage goes down slightly. If we have a lower volume, the percentage goes up a little bit. But if you assume like let's say 5% increase, then that would be going up like $23 the bill for next year. And the reasons for these increases primarily, under major maintenance, we're showing an increase of $50,000, and that's just because the cost of the pumps, when a pump goes down, and we have 41 pumping stations, so if a pump goes down, we're talking at least $10,000 just to repair, to replace it. So we're seeing an increase in those, the cost for the repairs. Not necessarily the frequency, but just the actual costs. Grinder pump maintenance, so we are seeing an uptick in the needs there. So we're requesting an additional $50,000. We have about 600 pumps, and about 150 a year is what we're working on, but we're seeing more replacements or rebuilds than just repairs. So that's why we're seeing, because if you look back at last year's FY25 actual, we spent $230. So that is on track. So that's why we're asking to match what the actual is spent, what actuals last year as opposed to the budgeted last year. We have outlay $105,000. This is for a utility truck with a lift gate that will be used for manhole inspections. Also under debt service, and this will also, under the warrant articles, get into it more detail, but this is where, when we ask for the warrant articles, that debt service comes out of this line item. And so it's for Evergreen, Clinton, pump station improvements. And lastly, our sewer rates will be adjusted in July, and we do run the numbers again in June to estimate that. So like I said, the rate isn't going up 4.46%. It depends on the revenue and the volume that we receive. So we'll run those numbers again in June. And our last division, enterprise division as well, stormwater division. This is our newest division. This is overall a 5.46 increase. There's an increase in equipment repair. by $15,000. Our street sweepers, they're just, they pick up a lot of things on the side of the road, so there's always a repair needed. Again, those repairs can be costly. So if you look at last year, we spent $52,000. So also our CCTV truck, it's it's only a year old. It's been great, but the more you use it, sometimes you come across a repair that's needed. So that's why we increased that line item. Under contract services, I do ask for more money there in the amount of $40,000, so from $150 to $190. And just because we're the catch basin debris disposal and street sweeping disposal that we stockpile at Swain Road, just trying to get rid of more of that annually. And under the debt service line item, similar to how I explained it in the sewer, is we have two needs. We have a tool truck borrowed over 5 years, and that's really just to help with some of the masonry work or the head wall repairs or drainage repairs. And again, these are both two warrant articles I'll be presenting tonight, Rainbow Ave drainage improvements. Our stormwater fees, I like to adjust the stormwater fees in January and then the sewer fees in July, just so that's offset. Stormwater fees, both stormwater and sewer are tier structures, but the stormwater fees for residential, those just were set, I think $72, and they went up from $68. So with this 5.46%, my guess is next January they would be going up another $3 or $4. And that completes the operations budget piece. I don't know if you have any questions.
So continuing on, we have review of Article 9 for the PFAS treatment plant upgrades at Richardson Road, Article 11 sewer pump station upgrades for Clinton Avenue, Fair Street, and Evergreen Street, Article 13 stormwater wreck body truck, Article 14 drainage improvements for Rainbow Ave, and Article 35 utility inspector fire stations construction project, and Article 36 street acceptance of Proctor Road.
I'd like to know more about the PFAS and just a little quick history lesson, if you would.
Sure. So this goes back to going back several years ago, PFAS was found at 54 Richardson Road. This 54 Richardson Road is still is our highway yard, but the PFAS was found on the site, and it was found at levels above reportable concentrations. And I know that as far as what's reportable, those limits are changing, but that was at the time, and it still remains high. So with that basically it becomes an open site through DEP, and it requires quarterly reporting. So we are conducting samples throughout the year. We also had to come up with a PFAS mitigation plan. So our consultant, Weston Sampson, they do provide reports frequently to the select board. They're on for Monday night just to give updates how is the treatment or mitigation going. So we did install this system, and there's a picture of it right here that's in one of the garage bays. That is that treatment system. So really it's taking in the water and it's filtering through a resin carbon system, and then it's spitting out water, or it's basically putting water back into the ground, recharging it. That is PFAS free, or fully removed of PFAS, or very essentially non-detect levels. And then over time, that resin does have to be replaced, so that's part of the operating cost. Just to make sure that if that resin does have to be replaced, just to make sure the system is functioning. It's a filter in your house. It's just a very robust filter. So that system was installed in 2022, and we've been quarterly reports and annual reports. And in the most recent reporting, we're seeing levels drop significantly, but we still have to do some more expansion of the system towards the dog park. On this picture, it says dog park irrigation well. That's a well that was used for the dog park itself, but in that vicinity, we need to put a well to help expand the PFAS mitigation. So what we would do is we would be installing that well, trenching to that well, proposing to use in-house DPW services to do that trenching, and that would connect back into this mitigation system here, and so it would be a larger system that it would be capturing.
So is there any, when we hit here, we stop, or when you hit here, we go to maintenance mode? What is the long-term goal?
So there's With any type of mitigation with DP, there's no known timeline. It depends on your numbers, I guess, and also repeat of numbers too, because we're testing in parts per the billion, and also it also depends on what is required as the level. So when we first started, it was 20 parts per trillion, and then I know there's federal requirements talking about 6 parts per trillion. So it depends, I guess, so we don't, the goal line's changing too, so we don't know what that timeline is. We're hopeful that we can clean up the site, as quick as possible, but there's no known timeline. We know we have to maintain it until we really get
And you
the-
have to clean it up because it's a source of water wells for the town?
there is water well, I know there's water wells in the vicinity, but we have to clean this up because we're above reportable concentrations. So we follow the Massachusetts, basically per the state through DEP. If you have any chemical that is above a reportable limit, you're required to report it and required. So if you tested on your property and you found PFAS, you'd be obligated to report it and you'd be obligated to clean it up.
Okay.
Which is why PFAS is becoming something that is found, it's in everything, and so it is something that is just, it is, if you find it, you have to clean it up. It was found at the site, and it was also found, it probably was associated, there's a long history lesson, I guess, I don't want to go into so much detail, because, but we are looking at tracing, because there's 1,500 different chemicals under PFAS or PFOS, and so we are looking at traces. From what we've seen, it's not all coming from this 54 Richardson. It's coming from other areas as well. So it's almost like trying to just look at a puzzle. But we know that we have to complete some mitigation on our site. So it is the installation of that well, piping to it, and modifying the existing treatment system. This cost is broken out separately from the operation cost, and this estimated cost is $242,000. This would be completed this summer, fall. Any other questions? I apologize, the lettering is kind of cut off at the top, but this is Article 11, sewer pump station upgrades for the Clinton Avenue, Fair Street, and Evergreen Street. And this is a total of $1.5 million. Right now, we are completing design for these projects. This is similar to some of the previous projects. I know what Kensington and Myland, but these are, I guess, called more minor upgrades. We anticipate, so these were all designed together, and that we would go to bid early this summer and then complete the construction this summer and fall. Next slide, please. The scope of work, so as you see here in this picture, this is really basically what I call them sheds. So all of our 41 pump stations, when we're done with all of them, we want to make sure that all of our equipment is housed, is better for maintenance purposes and also longevity of all the equipment in these, what I call sheds. So that's an example of what we will put in. Right now, what the picture you previously saw was it's basically the below ground structures and our generator on site, and it's in a fenced in area. So construct new buildings with the new control panels, a generator at each pump station. We'll have the temp control. Also, this includes temp, because we have to keep these pump stations operational while we're doing this work. So there's temp controls that have to be put in during the process. At the new pump station, we'll have new control panels, new generators at Evergreen and Fair. We do have to just reinstall the generator at Clinton, and then we also install new variable frequency drives for the pumps at all stations. Each of the stations will have new ultrasonic flow meters, just new equipment to help monitor the flows at each pump station. An example shown here, this is what we recently completed at the Myland pump station.
So is this something that you expect that we'll need for all pump stations? Like, will this be a $1.5 million cost for the next 13 years?
We do have a 10-year plan, and we've completed the major, I think almost all but one major one. There's a series of minor ones coming up, and I am in the middle of updating our overall 10-year plan to see what it really looks like, but it's not all 41. I think we're down to like 13 left that we have to upgrade. But once we get through the 13, I'm sure we'll have to go back to all 4. I'm sure there'll be some need to update, whether it needs a new generator. But after the next several years, all of our building will have all 41 locations will have a house or a shed. So we're close, I guess. I think I want to say it's with these including, I think it's 13 left.
Okay.
Christine, have you increased security around these, or are you building in any increased security enhancements, cameras, things like that, sensors on doors, other than locks on windows?
Yeah,
and
we
doors?
have the locks.
Yeah.
We do have control system. I guess there's controls, and so I mean, we have I guess sensors on all the equipment and locks on the doors. Other than that, we haven't really had a problem. I don't think. We do also sometimes. This isn't the final picture, but we also do provide some screening because these are also in a lot of the neighborhoods. So we wanted to not stand out. So we do some often fencing or arborvitaes. But yeah, it's really just the locks. All the equipment is monitored so that if anything, we would know immediately.
Okay.
And there's alarm systems in that aspect.
Okay, thank you.
Next slide, please. Moving on to the Article 13, the stormwater tool truck. This is the request to purchase what's shown as a F550 tool truck with plow. This would be equipped as a mason truck, so we're trying to do a lot of our drainage repairs in-house. I mean, we have a lot of needs for larger repairs, but the smaller ones, the drainage structures, the head walls, doing that in-house, just so we equip a truck. This would assist with also with the snow removal operations, like we'll have later on tonight. And the request for this is $115,000 borrowed over 5 years. Article 14 is drainage improvements for Rainbow Ave. Pictured here is this is probably going back to, now 2 summers ago. We had significant rain events in the summer. This is Rainbow Ave. We have used our CCTV truck to televise this area, and we did make some minor improvements, but what we found in that is that the existing drainage system on Rainbow Ave is undersized, so we need to upsize the existing pipe. We need to also adjust the outlet of the pipe. We have to add manholes. We have to add catch basins. As you see here in this picture, the catch basins are kind of connected to each other, which the right way to do it is connect them to manholes. So there'll be additional structures. Also locating the catch basins in the low point of the roads, and that will be part of the project as well. This is estimated to cost $350,000, borrowed over 10 years. We are designing this right now. We're proposing this would probably go out to bid, just given the size of the project.
Can you go back to the truck for just a second?
Sure.
Okay, I just wanted to see, it's $115,000
$115,000.
over 5 years, and you think the truck will last 5 years?
Oh, the truck should last 10 to 15 years. Yeah.
All right,
A lot
good.
of our trucks last at least 10 to 15 years. That's our replacement time frame.
Thank you.
Welcome. This is paid over 5 years. Yeah. Article 35, utility easements. This is part of the new fire stations. Those projects, actually, happy to report, went out to bid today, so we'll be receiving bids within the next month. This is to both fire stations number 3 and number 5. This is, in compliance with the new stretch code. These 2 buildings will be fully electric. There's no gas to these buildings. So with that, we had to really provide a new utility service to both these buildings, and with that was required a National Grid utility easement. And so just picture, we're still waiting actually on which we should be receiving soon, the Fire Station 5 actual easement plan, but on the right, the old Westford Road, that is the easement plan proposed by National Grid. So this is a request to approve the easements. And then Article 36 is a request to accept Proctor Road. Proctor Road is 1.5 miles long, and it is an arterial roadway, and it has never been accepted as a public way. I do say here one of few remaining arterial roadways, but I did confirm this is the last. I know we've come before you for Parkhurst, and this is our last large roadway. We do still have a number of areas we'll be looking into, but they're all smaller. Local roadways. I wouldn't call them arterial roadways. So this is the last of the requests. So this will add 1.5 miles into the Chapter 90 allocations when they look at their annual allotments as to, shares from the funds, when they allocate funds from the state to us. And all that money goes towards the roadway paving program, and sometimes the sidewalk program as well. Like I said, so Proctor Road has been treated as a public way. It's an arterial roadway. We have plowed it, we've repaired it, but just looking at it, we have never actually accepted it as a road. And this will, like I said, by accepting this, we will be able to increase our Chapter 90 reimbursements from funds from the state. This is currently on our paving plan for next year, so we would be looking to pave that this year. Any questions? And I showed this is one, there's like, I think it's I actually do have a full copy of it. There's 14 pages of this to show the entire limits, but this is a draft plan, and I'm just waiting on the final stamp plan. And this is on before the select board on Monday. And that concludes all the DPW warrant article requests. Any questions?
I don't think so. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Very much. Appreciate it.
All right, up next, we have a review of the fiscal 27 budget for the Veterans Agent. With us this evening is Regina Jackson, our Veterans Agent.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The fiscal year 27 budget request for Veteran Services is level funded, and it's pretty straightforward. But let me just read under comments, and it might explain a little bit. This budget request for fiscal year 2027 is a level service budget. The need for benefits and services from both the Mass Chapter 115 and VA benefits has remained consistent this year. There is a great uncertainty with the state EOVS future budgets. That's the state agency that we work with for this funding, for this program. The Chapter 115 program is fully funded. However, changes do appear on the horizon with EOVS. There is a greater effort to access federal benefits for our 115 recipients. However, the medical costs that are associated with our Chapter 115 recipients have greatly increased. Each case is unique. Currently, we have 10 to 12 active Chapter 115 cases per month. The amount authorized will be adjusted with the COLA increase. The first quarter of fiscal year 2026, which was July, August, September 2025, we paid out $30,792. It's important to remember that 75% of all the Chapter 115 benefits we do pay out reimbursed to the town. The reimbursement time is currently running 12 to 14 months behind and is paid back on a quarterly basis. Our last reimbursement was received on August 20th, 2025 for $18,386, and that represented 75% of benefits paid out July, August, September. Actually, the next quarter already came in, and it's 75%. For fiscal year 2027 planning purposes, it's reasonable to assume a monthly average will be approximately $10,000 for monthly for cash and material grants, veterans benefits. Also, you have to factor in money for grave flags, burial benefits if applicable, and any additional authorized fuel benefits. So for fiscal year 2027, I'm requesting $125,000. However, when we reviewed the budget with town manager and John, we requested, it's going in at about $115,000 on the veterans benefits cash material grants. That's going to be, this fiscal year is going to run just about right there. So we actually might, this fiscal year, we might have to make a minor adjustment for $5,000. So, but we'll deal with that. But going forward, that's a pretty steady number for the benefits. And then as it's broken down under the 75%, so remember, whatever the 115 money we pay out, we get 75% back if we follow the rules, which we always do, and get it all approved. So that's that part of the budget. So any questions on that?
Are you going to be around for a long time?
You mean this evening?
Is it today?
No, in general.
Well, I've been here for 30 years, and not too many more. No, time to wind down here a little bit.
No, because you do such an amazing job,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
but other people are retiring too. looking at people back there. It's just, are you training a replacement? How do you replace the irreplaceable?
There's always somebody that's going to come in and do a great job too. So at some point, don't worry, we'll figure it out. I'll work with town manager and we'll do a proper planning.
Well, don't hurry.
I won't hurry. I won't hurry. I won't.
No, it's always good to have somebody in the wings. She could have a good scratcher, and
Yeah, we'll work at that. But that's this year's budget. So that's the money part for the town, and then the other, federal part and stuff. That's really, really important. That's pretty much more than half of the job, but that doesn't affect the budget here. However, there's one other thing I just want to bring up possibly for the fall warrant. It's not going to go on the Springtown warrant. And I've talked to the Board of Assessors and Town Manager about adopting the increase in the tax exemption for veterans' tax exemptions to that is allowed under the HERO Act from 2024, 2025. Anyways, the State HERO Act, last year, it's little pieces. Last year, we did adopt the COLA increase for the veterans' tax exemptions, which is great. This year, we're trying to come back and adopt the increase for the actual dollar amount increase. And we're trying to do this in the fall warrant article, so hopefully it'll work. So, but there is going to be, if we're able to do this, there's two categories of veterans tax exemption that we're looking at. There's more than two, but these are the two that will affect the budget. And there's the clause 22, which is a $400 exemption, and what we're trying to do is to double that exemption. That's for veterans who have a 10 to 90% service-connected disability, and they own and occupy their home. That's per fiscal year. And the other one is clause 22E, which is a $1,000 exemption, and that's for 100% service-connected veterans. Same deal. Own and occupy your home for that exemption, and that's also we're trying to double it. But the impact would be $164,000. So that's what we're trying to think about. I believe the Board of Assessors is going to support it, and hopefully the town will support it. So, but that is not for this Springtown meeting, but I just wanted you guys to have that in your thoughts, okay? And the other thing that we're going to ask for, and not in Springtown meeting, I meant fall town meeting, sorry, is to adopt another article, which is really straightforward, has no monetary effect on the budget, and that is to adopt clause 22G. Actually, it's just to clarify it. So right now, if you have a veteran who gets the tax exemption and they own and occupy the home, and they put your home in a trust, if they happen not to be the trustee and the beneficiary, they lose that. They lose the exemption. So if they do it and they didn't know that, which a lot of people don't, unfortunately, they lose it. But the 22G corrects this. And if accepted, the veteran would continue to qualify for the exemption as long as the property is their domicile, they live there, it's their primary residence, and they retain a beneficial interest in the property, even if it's legally held by a trustee, conservator, or fiduciary. So it just kind of takes that language out, so there's no, if somebody is playing their estate and whatnot, and they fail to do that, which happens, they lose the exemption.
It's an exception provision for veterans. That's what it is, because it applies to everybody else.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and it was we're going to ask for that for fall town meeting. So nothing for this town meeting. So if you have any questions.
Any questions?
No.
All right.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good.
Did you review that budget?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, next on our agenda this evening, we have a review of the fiscal '27 budget for the Finance Department, which includes the accounting, assessors, information technology, and treasury collection. And with us this evening is John Souza, our Finance Director and Treasurer.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Finance Committee members. Pleased to present the FY27 budget request. As we go through the summary, so the first page in your packet after the title page is actually it just shows the main functions of all the different offices. And so in the interest of time, I won't go through that with you. The next page lists some goals for each office for the upcoming year. And then the third page, or the next page, is a staffing summary. And the key point here is that for the upcoming year, there is absolutely zero change in the number of the finance department will continue to operate with 14.0 full-time equivalent positions. And then from there, we go into the line item budget area. And so the first office is the treasurer collector's office in this packet. And as you review, I did want to say I should have started by saying that last Friday I had an opportunity to meet with Cindy and Anita virtually, and we went over the finance department budget, in detail. So we had a good meeting. And so for the treasurer's office, for the upcoming year, the personnel services budget increases just about a little over $26,000, and that covers step increases in line with the non-union compensation plan. Under expenses, most of the categories are level funded. You'll see two that I just wanted to explain. So contract services increases by $3,000, and that's just due to a support contract increase for our Munis contract. And then postage, you'll see increases $2,000 just due to increasing postage costs. Just with inflation and that in the economy, the price per piece just continues to go up. So other than that, you'll see that the expense budget increases about $5,000 in total for the upcoming year. Other than that, all the other accounts are level funded. So that's the treasurer collector's office. And then we go on to information technology. And so here, personnel services increases just over $8,700 for the upcoming year, which is about a 3% increase. And then under expenses, there's a couple lines that increase, and I'll just explain those. Under computer maintenance, that increases $6,000. That's the cost of software upgrades and procuring some Microsoft licenses. And then under contract services, that line increases $2,000 for a network support contract. And so expenses increases about $8,000, or just over 2% for the upcoming year.
So just going back to the technology in terms of maintenance and licenses, how is it run? Is it centrally located within the IT budget here in terms of all the technology and software as a service that's throughout town, or is it sort of those SaaS offerings are really hosted within each individual budget?
Yeah, so I will say most departments are, the technology is consolidated within this budget. There are some exceptions, such as you may have some larger departments, the library, but we have two technology employees. We have the IT director and the network manager, and they assist all departments. So I know, they work closely. For example, we have the police chief with us tonight. They'll work closely with them on, their technology needs, fire, mentioned library, public works. So there may be some unique program to that department that's within that line item budget, but I would say the majority is, consolidated right here, and they actually handle all of the emails, email services for all the non-school employees. And as far as your Microsoft user licenses and that for all the non-school employees.
Yeah, and just curious, the grand scheme of things is actually a very small dollar amount given how expensive technology is now. And so I'm curious to, have you explored more efficiencies or other ways of upgrading technology to offset either productivity or anything else, right? Can we get a good bang for the buck in how we apply it? Because in the private sector, AI is literally everywhere, and everyone's talking about it, just as an example.
Yeah, I will say, you know, our technology director's been with us for a long time, and he's a very frugal person, and he really goes out of his way to save money wherever possible. And, you know, it's not to say, you know, if we have a need for a, you know, antivirus software or malware or something, you know, definitely we're gonna make that purchase. But he does really spend a lot of time trying to minimize costs wherever he can. They actually led sort of an effort a few years back. You know, in years gone by, everyone had physical servers. Then for a while, people leased servers. Now there was a movement. We basically have all virtual servers. And so wherever that we can, you know, save money, that he does look at that.
Great, thank you.
So that summarizes the information technology budget. And then from there, the assessor's office is next. And so the assessor's office personnel services budget increases a little over $19,000 for the upcoming year, and that covers step increases under the non-union compensation plan. And then under expenses, I want to say, because last year, you probably remember us saying was a full certification year. So every value had to be updated with the Department of Revenue and certified with them to their, you know, to their satisfaction. This is what's called an interim adjustment year. So still a lot of work to be done, but it requires less contract work or less work with a contractor. So that's why you see the reval line decreasing $15,000 for the upcoming year. The only other changes in the line item budget as we work our way down, about halfway down, the tax bill line, that increases about $2,000 just for postage costs. And then we have a couple of smaller line items that are decreasing $1,000 each, dues and subscriptions, just to be more in line, reflective of past actual expenses. So the assessor's expenses are actually decreasing about $15,000. Overall, the budget increases about $4,300 or 0.8%. So that the savings on the contract services is what makes that a very minimal increase for the upcoming year. And then the next office, the accounting office, that for the upcoming year, the personnel services area increases about $21,000 for steps in line with the non-union compensation plan. And then under the expense budget for accounting, the only item that's increasing is the audit services. That's going up $2,000, and we're actually in the second year of a 3-year contract with Clifton Larson Allen. And so that's the reason for that. And that pretty much summarizes all of then the last is just salary detail by office or by person. And that pretty much summarizes the finance department.
Thank you. Any questions? And then, could you speak briefly to Article 22, the property valuation services?
Yes, so under Article 22, we're seeking a transfer from overlay surplus of $153,000 to fund the second year of a contract with Vision Appraisal Services. And this is to do cyclical inspections. So what that is the Department of Revenue mandates that a town visit so many properties physically each year and do a measurement of the structure of the buildings, take a digital photograph, make some notes, and try to gain access to the interior. So between fiscal year 26 and fiscal year 27, the contractor will be visiting about 10,000 residential properties and 270 commercial industrial properties. And so this is a very necessary part of that cyclical inspection process.
Absolutely.
All right. Any questions? All right. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next this evening, we have a review of the fiscal 27 budget for the police department, and with us this evening, we have our police chief, Colin Spence.
Good evening.
Evening.
It's an honor to be before everybody. I hate to say, but it will be my last time being before this group, with the exception of town meeting. I just want to take a moment to thank all the officers and employees of the police department who serve our department with such dedication, kindness, and compassion, professionalism, and pride. As I look upon another successful year, I am reminded what an honor and privilege it is to lead such an outstanding group of employees. I am constantly reminded by residents on a daily basis on how our officers and employees have treated their family members with the utmost professionalism, care, and compassion. I want to personally thank our officers for their support of our various programs, such as CPAL, the golf tournament, flag football, learn to skate, dueling pianos, movie night, Buddies and Badges, Voices of Hope hockey game, which is this Saturday, which our officers play the Bruins alumni for charity, Phila Cruiser events, Youth Academy, Unified Game Day, our Honor Guard, Community Read-In, Bike Rodeo, DCF Christmas Party, the Veterans Breakfast, which I always love to attend, July 3rd and 4th celebrations, the annual tree lighting, Juneteenth event, Fall Fest, Polar Plunge, which is Sunday the 22nd, which is for Make-A-Wish. Many people may not realize that these officers volunteer their time for the majority of these events. They come in on their own time, and I'm forever grateful for everything they do for our department. I also want to express my deepest gratitude to the Finance Committee for supporting the police department and our programs. Throughout my budgeting process, from my first meetings with Town Manager Cohen, Town Treasurer John Souza, Town Accountant Darlene Lucia, to meeting with finance members Jim Clancy and Elaine McDonald, to tonight's meeting, it's always been a pleasure to work with all of you. And I do appreciate the questions. Serving as Chief of Police has been one of the greatest honors of my life. And that honor has everything to do with the individuals I had the privilege to work alongside with for so many years, many who are in this room. We have outstanding employees, volunteers, and citizens that make this town what it is. I see on a daily basis the hard work of our town employees who work with dedication and professionalism. Throughout my 35-year career, I have the privilege of working with various committees, such as the Finance Committee, Parade Committee, Age Friendly Committee, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee, Vinyl Square Committee, Commission with Disabilities, and other volunteers. And I see firsthand how everyone works so hard to make this town as great as it is. Your willingness to volunteer your time to our town is truly what makes this town special. The achievements of the Chelmsford Police Department are the result of collaboration. Our community programs, partnerships, crisis programs, mental health and wellness initiatives have all been made possible through the dedication and support of everyone who works alongside of us. We all share in our successes. Thank you for your trust, your collaboration, your partnership. Chelmsford is truly an outstanding town because of all of your efforts. It has been my greatest honor and privilege to serve alongside each one of you. Now I'll get to the budget. Okay, so the budget is level funded. A few of our goals and objectives, and I'll just be quick. Just look back.
Hold on. Has a mind of its own right now. Yeah, there we go. One of the things that I'm proud to announce, we did receive full grant funding, well, partial grant funding, but in the end, we're going to be able to fund the whole program to implement our body-worn camera program. That's a big accomplishment for our department. The one thing I have to say with our department, as many of you might have seen in the media over the past few days, our unions are some of the only unions to fully support it. All three police unions embraced getting body-worn cameras. They see the value in it. It's about professionalizing our department, your department.
So we're excited for that.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, really, I mean, Town Manager Cohen was instrumental in bringing it. It's Lieutenant Nick Zeminski. For those that don't know him, he is one of the heads of the Nimlik SWAT team. He's a Chelmsford police lieutenant, and he was instrumental in researching all the different products to get us the best bang for the buck. And I'm extremely pleased with the product that we're going to have. A couple other goals and objectives: increase police presence in the community, utilizing community policing strategies. We're going to start using more technology. As everybody's probably seen, our social media, we have some of the best social media of any police department in the area. If you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Aiden Gillis is phenomenal. He's one of our police officers, and he does a phenomenal job with our social media.
Quite the Valentine's Day cards.
Yeah. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
That's a good one. But he really does a great job of humanizing the police department. It really has been helpful when we go to serious situations. A lot of individuals recognize us from those whether it's an event that has been posted online or what have you on Facebook. He's also been instrumental. Our rave emergency notification system is great now. I don't know how many people have signed up. I would highly encourage everybody. Any closings, if there's school closings, pretty much everything is going through that system now. We just put out something. We're getting snow again.
Mm-hmm. And so how do you sign up for everybody?
So if you go to our website, and you could basically there's a sign up for alerts, and it's just one click. We're going to build upon our community engagement wellness unit through community events, officer interactions, and our clinician outreach program. As I go through the numbers at the very end, our calls for clinician services were down slightly by about 6%. The reason for that, we didn't have funding. It wasn't a town issue, it was a state issue. But since that time, we've gotten full funding for the clinician, so that's a great thing for the department. Partner with our diverse community in order to deliver exceptional services to all members of our community. As many people know, I attend many of those events. I attended one this weekend, the Jazz Brunch. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was a great event. I brought my father. We really enjoyed it. Prioritize department outreach, diversity initiatives, police athletic league, community resource dog program, Ozzy. I should have him with me tonight.
You should. I'm not getting to meet Ozzy. I'm very upset.
Our police department internship program, we've been expanding on that with the high school and also with Middlesex Community College. We actually have many interns now. Elderly Living Safe program, we've been giving certain presentations at the senior center regarding how to avoid scams. That's one of the big issues that we have. I mentioned this last year. Few other things to mention, opportunities for employee professional development and growth. We've been researching different training opportunities. Pretty much almost any training that officers apply for, if I can relate it to their job and their performance, we will approve it. Enhance our traffic-related programs. Continue to work with local and regional partners regarding school and workplace safety issues. We work very closely with the schools. We had the schools in this past week doing some camera upgrades to our servers to make sure that pretty much all of our in-house computers can get every school camera, which is so important in emergency. If an emergency happens, we get a flash on all the screens, and it goes right to those cameras. It's extremely important. And build and maintain collaborative relationships with federal, state, local authorities. As far as our staffing, there are no changes, still 70 employees. As I put in here, the clinician is currently grant funded. We're hoping to have that just to keep continuing. And we're part of the collaborative, so we have access to a clinician 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
Go to the next slide. 54 sworn officers approved complement for this year, same as last year, this fiscal year. One change we do have, the Criminal Investigations Professional Responsibility Division, that has been renamed. Okay, so that is what it's called now. It used to just be the Criminal Investigations. But professional responsibility, the body camera program is gonna fall under that. Internal affairs, everything is gonna fall under that division. Does anybody have any questions so far? Organizational chart, almost identical to last year, except for the change on the left side regarding the professional responsibility division. The current training that the officers are going through, this is for this fiscal year. This is what they're currently doing now. Legal updates, annual CPR first responder, we have to do that every year, 6 hours. Firearms every year, defensive tactics, TASER 10 recertification every year, and then those are just other classes that the officers have to complete in order to remain certified. Our certifications are by fiscal year. So then the state will, in another month or so, they're gonna release what we need for fiscal year 2027. And the next, these are trainings that we've already completed over the past few years. One thing that we do have, the crisis intervention training. We're probably one of the only departments in the area. Majority of our officers have 40 hours in that, okay? It's a 40-hour, it's a whole week program that they meet with mental health clinicians and really talk about what we're dealing with on the street as far as how to de-escalate situations. It's so important, not only for the officers, the person, but also liability on the town. That is one of the things that we pride ourselves on. Now, as far as the personnel costs, increase about a little over 3%, about $260,637. I'm happy to say that all of our unions are under contract, so that includes all the contracted raises. Now, as far as, it's pretty self-explanatory. As far as the increases, some of the increases that you'll see a little bit in our clerical, but that's all basically tied just to salaries. A few longevity increases in there. And the overtime going up by about $50,000. That's due to the increase in salaries. Plus, we have to cover so many events. We have so many more events in town, which is great, but at the same point, we have to ensure the security of everybody that attends. Any questions on the personnel costs?
I just registered for a SRAE right now, so I'm all set.
Any questions at all, personnel costs? Now, expense costs.
When we met, part of the reason why you have such a lower increase than others might is because you're replacing retiring officers with younger officers.
Exactly. We have, probably since I became chief, a little less than 3 years ago, probably 40% of the department's new.
Amazing.
So a lot of that has to do with the Bill Clinton COPS grant. A lot of the officers, such as myself, were hired under that grant. So they since got to that maximum. We've also, when I took over, we were a few down. We were probably 4 officers down at the time. I'm happy to say that we're at full complement right now. And we just hired somebody that will be sworn in probably 3 weeks, and he's already a trained officer. So we're looking forward to getting him on board.
Okay.
As far as expenses, it's going up by about $93,000, 8.74%. In red, I highlighted the electricity, obviously utilities, building maintenance is up a little bit. Gasoline is down, as everybody's been seeing, down slightly.
That might change.
Right.
I was thinking about that when I printed this out.
Be a risk.
Don't hold a breath on that one.
The office supplies is up a little bit. Our vehicle costs up about $20,000, as everybody's seen. It pretty much is about $72,000 for us to fully equip a police cruiser. And new equipment is up slightly. Any questions on the expenses?
Are there any lead time restraints on getting cruisers?
It depends. So sometimes we've had a problem getting the hybrids. I think it was 2 years ago, we had to get a full gas because there was no other option. But it has gotten much better, I would expect that we'll have them in July. This past cycle, I think we got them in, it was like November, December. And then we had to get them equipped. Some of them are just getting on the road now.
Right.
It's
So-
not the lead time we see in the fire department.
It's more the equipping.
It's more the fit up?
It's more the fit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the problem. If we can't get a certain radio, a light package, it's all integrated. So we have to wait until that comes in. So, any other questions on that? I just went into the expense issues. I've kind of already talked about that. And the total budget is going up 3.65%. And then we have the animal control budget. That has gone down slightly as far as the personnel costs, and that is due to the fact we have a newer animal control officer, Matt DiCiero. Those that haven't met him, he's doing an excellent job. He's really getting out there in the community, going to community events, hosting events at our station. So it's been great. He's been a great asset, has a lot of experience. So,
You have the Aussie, the fun puppy, the comfort puppy, and then you have the other one who is a well-trained.
yes, yeah, so he.
A not so fun puppy. A not so fun puppy.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
he's fun for the guy who's control.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, so we do have one Aussie, and then the other one that will not roam around, Alun.
Alun.
Doesn't roam around, excellent dog, but
No, and they're trained to be responsive and to commit. Is one of those imported German dogs?
yes.
Okay.
German Melanese, I believe.
Yes. They're highly intelligent, very, it's important for them to have a job.
Yes, oh, absolutely. And we've actually used the dog a lot recently. We've had a few missing individuals in town. One of them was found by the drone last week, safe and sound, in a wooded area. So that was actually a great thing for our drone unit to get, so. And then the other one is just the actual expenses. Pretty self-explanatory as far as the electricity went up a little bit, gas heat went up a little bit, but everything else is pretty much level. And just a quick stats.
Right, I wanted to ask a few questions about the stats.
Yeah.
Is robberies, when you say robberies, that's stick 'em up, give me your money?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
And do you think the overdoses are less because you have, the town is, and always has really embraced the Narcan. Is that why you would have a lower amount?
That number is a little bit misleading. And the reason I say that, I believe a lot of people are self-medicating at home. So if
Okay.
they have Narcan at home, we may not know about it. So if they are utilizing, I think that number, I don't like to rely on that, things are changing. All the stats say that they are, but I still question that a little bit because it's very easy to get Narcan, which is a great thing. It's life-saving, one of the best things that, we carry on our tool belt. It's amazing how it works. A lot of people have it at home, so they're not gonna call us afterwards. So we would have no knowledge in private homes what is going on with that.
Okay.
And vandalism is just tagging, spray paint?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe breaking a window, could be, without breaking in.
And fraud crimes is when somebody said, oh, I was dumb and I did something and I shouldn't have, and that you try to follow up on them?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's what we're doing at a lot of the, at the senior center. We've had several programs there to address that, because seniors are targeted. unfortunately. So,
You mentioned when we met that the motor vehicle brakes, that number went down because there was a ring that was doing it in our area and is no longer on the streets because they were apprehended.
yes, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
And is I would assume that shoplifting is the usual, it's not a Little Peach anymore, I don't know whatever the name of the store is right now in Walmart and
Exactly.
grocery stores.
Someone that goes in, takes something, doesn't pay, and goes out the door. That's normal.
Okay. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
We're gonna miss you, sir.
No, thank you very much. I truly appreciate taking the time to meet with me, and I really appreciate working with everybody. Who knows, you might see me again.
Well, Chief,
I truly do. I think the world of this town. I think the world of these committees. Obviously, a lot of them are unpaid positions in this town, and the town wouldn't be what it is without all of you. So, and I truly mean that.
Thanks for your service.
you.
Yes,
Thank you,
thank
sir.
you
Very
very
welcome.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. All right, moving along, we have a review of the fiscal year 27 budget for the Public Education and Government Access Television. We'll also include a review of Article 16 to amend the fiscal year 2026 PEG access and cable-related enterprise fund operating budget, and Article 18, the Chelmsford Telemedia Public Education and Government Access Equipment. And our committee member liaison, Sam Chase, will be giving us a quick overview.
You want me here or at the podium?
No, you can give it from the
Oh,
here. That's fine.
good, thank you.
Have it up for you in a minute, in a second.
Want to go up to the lectern?
No.
I told him he didn't have to, Dave. You know, if you want him to go up, I mean.
Jim, you're the chairman.
Yeah.
You can determine this.
Whatever he says.
That's as large as I'm gonna go if I don't want to cut off everything. There we go.
Just a quick overview of the Chelmsford Telemedia PEG services. PEG, P-E-G, stands for Public Education and Government. So those are the three areas which the local TV telemedia station covers. And all major municipal meetings are broadcast and recorded by telemedia. That would be on the government channels, okay? And on the education channel, school sports, concerts, and school committee meetings and so forth. You will see them there. And on the community channel, this is reserved largely for people, members of the community, all of whom are volunteers, who produce their own TV shows. And we have quite a few. I'm not going to read off the list, but there are many very high-quality programs that are produced by our local residents. And on the cable services, Verizon and Comcast, there are three separate channels to account for the P, the E, and the G. Now, funding of the operation, first of all, it's set up as an enterprise fund. So whatever the enterprise takes in, that limits the amount of their expenditures. It is considered an operating department of the town. The executive director reports to the town manager. As I said, no tax dollars are used to fund the operation or pay for the capital expenses. And of course, as an enterprise, the capital is included in the overall budget summary. The funding mechanism is by application of a 5% surcharge on the TV subscription portion of your cable bill. So if you have a cable TV, cable service, and you're getting your TV through the Verizon or Comcast service, you're paying for decoder boxes and things like that. That is the basis of the funding. So you might have an overall cable bill of $300 that includes phone and internet and cable, but the 5% is only levied on the TV portion of the bill. So that's what funds the operation, and that becomes important as we look at the budget because of the decreasing number of people that are getting their TV services through cable. So the staff, we have a paid staff of 5 professionals. Pete Padula is the executive director. Tom Peterson, who probably everybody knows because he's been around forever, he handles all of the production duties at the station, and he's responsible for the educational programming as well. And you'll see him very often in the schools when they're putting together these programs. And then we have Vilu Tari, who is the program director. He's the one that schedules the programs, works with the volunteers and so forth. I'm sure you've seen Diane Sherritt-Steimel, who is responsible for the news portions of the TV segments. And then Peter Dews, who's a relatively new employee, he handles all of the media production, and it's quite an operation. If you have a chance to go down and visit the studio, which is located at the Parker School, be a good question. I don't know what they're going to do when the new school building comes on, if it does, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But it's quite a fascinating operation. So that's just a little bit of the overview of how we're structured.
Well, to answer the question regarding
Yep.
the studios, the
Yes.
part of the plan is, at least in the development of Parker, is to continue to have the studio in the new facility should one be voted on and built. And so that's part of the submission that's been the many different types of submissions that are being reviewed by the committee. And the committee is meeting next week at the Elks at 6 o'clock. To review the next portion of our review and submission. And then there's a public event at the Elks at 7 o'clock. And we welcome everyone from the public to attend to actually review where we are currently, what the different options are that have been presented for the new Parker Middle School, and to really ask the questions and participate in community involvement in the next portion of that, including discussing things to be included at that location, like the PEG Access Studios.
Thank you for answering my question, and also I gave you an opportunity to plug your meeting, so that's good.
Throw that one in there.
Sam, I have a question regarding
Yes.
the fee for
Yes.
Comcast and Verizon. They collect this fee. Do they pass through dollar for dollar, or do they hold back some sort of administration fee?
When you say pass through.
Pass through the, 5%. So for every dollar they get in, they take in, they're passing that along to the
Yes, it's a surcharge.
Surcharge.
Yes,
Right, so
right.
they're not holding back any
No.
administrative fee?
No,
Okay.
no.
And just to follow up on that, is it just those 2 companies, or what about all the other streaming services that have popped up now?
No, it's just whatever the 2 services provide. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's, right, so.
So, for example, YouTube TV, right? We don't get
On
You're
a
not
cable
paying,
like that's
you're
on
not
cable,
paying a
yeah.
surcharge on Netflix or YouTube or any of those. Okay, so, that's a good question, though.
And is
Yeah.
there an opportunity to work with those companies to establish something similar?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can find out.
You
Maybe.
said,
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
you said it's declining, the revenue is declining. How much? I mean, is there
Well, we're
is
gonna-
there a pattern there?
We're going to see it here on the slide, okay?
Okay.
Can you see it?
No, I can't.
Oh, okay, well.
Okay, but I can go right here and
You
look at
can,
it.
yeah, you can look over my shoulder on the cheat sheet, that's fine.
See, if you'd gone up there, you wouldn't be able to
So-
do that, Dave.
Okay, we'll get to that, and we'll get to that in just a second. The budget is, the proposed budget for fiscal '27 is really not remarkable in the operational aspects of it. Relatively small increases in the salary, personnel. I've already told you, we've got 5 full-time paid employees. There are many, many other people who work in the studio, but they're all volunteers, okay? Camera people, production people, archivists, and so on and so forth. And all the folks that put together the TV shows and produce those. They're unpaid people. We have a lot of those in Chelmsford, don't we? So anyway, on the personnel services, that's pretty much the step increases and so on and so forth that you would see in any of our budgets. As far as the expenses are concerned, you can see most of those are fairly level. Okay, we've got a travel expense of $5,000, which is accounting for some proposed activity in fiscal '27. That's a little bit of an anomaly. Going down to the outlay portion, I want to talk about that for a minute. That's the capital portion of the budget. And that also ties into, I think, warrant Article 18, okay, which is the ask for the capital money for fiscal '27. But if you want to take a look at that, I don't know how well you can see that. I tried to make the font a little larger on the slide so you could see it on the screen. Line item 58,000 outlay. You see typically what the numbers are year over year starting in fiscal '22, and then we have a fairly significant jump in 2024, 181,000 for '22. Those numbers are high. You have to remember that the studio underwent an extensive renovation, okay, and that was a large part of the capital expense. This year, we're asking for 92,000. And if you go down at the bottom of that Excel spreadsheet slide, we've shown that to show you what those capital items are. It ties into the $92,000. And you can see which of the items, they're all needed, I would say urgently, but Pete has identified those that are extremely high priority. You can see the ones that are absolutely urgently needed. And again, let's remember that although we have a fiscal '27 budget request, which will also will be on the warrant number, I forget what the article number is, but anyway, what is it?
Article 18 is the
18
access
is,
equipment.
18 is the capital, 17 is the operating budget. Okay, that's right. And don't forget that we have to net out the expense, okay, with the revenues. So when you do that, and if we go down to that section of the sheet there, you can see that starting in 2022 and then again in 2023, we have basically what amounts to a surplus, an operating surplus, okay? So over the years that has happened, and so there is a, for lack, I won't call it free cash, but it's an operating excess over the expense. So there is money available to cover contingencies. And you can see on line item 48420, PEG access fees. And if you follow that all the way across, you can see that every year the number goes down. And that's because people are cutting the cord. I just did it myself 4 months ago, and as a person who works with cable access, I have to tell you I felt a little guilty about it. But Mr. Padula told me that he cut the cord 3 years ago, so I guess I don't feel quite so guilty. But everybody is doing that for a variety of reasons. And that is affecting, obviously, the revenue. And so that is a concern, and it has been a concern for quite a while. The capital grant, that is a separate activity. It's through the state. That has to be applied for annually to get those revenues in. So I would say the concern going forward, I'm not concerned with the budget compared to this year or previous years. I think everything is well within bounds. But I think we need to be very concerned about the decline of the revenue source, because at some point that's going to have to be addressed, and it is a requirement that we maintain this operation. We can't simply say, well, it's not funded anymore, goodbye, it goes away. We have to maintain it. And even if that weren't the case, I think you'd have some very upset people in the community. We've all gotten very used to watching these board meetings on TV. And it's a lot easier to sit on your couch and watch a select board meeting than it is to get down to the town hall, especially when the weather is bad and so on and so forth. And we've gotten kind of used to that. And to take that away, I think, would be unacceptable, even if we could do it. So, anyway, that's the budget overview.
And we addressed also the articles.
The articles, you've got Article 16 is for fiscal '26. I don't know if the town manager wants to talk about that or not. Do you? No, you don't? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, well, that's all right. That relates to current fiscal year. They've had some unforeseen expenses relative to equipment failures and repairs and so on and so forth, and those have to be addressed. So you'll have a warrant Article 16 to address the current fiscal year, and then, as we said, 17 is just the budget approval. We have to do that as a pro forma matter because this is an enterprise fund, so that has to be on the warrant. And then the 18 also addresses the capital requirements for fiscal '27, which, again, are outlined on this spreadsheet. You'll see what those are.
Okay. Any further questions?
Just think about the sustainability of this over time. Is there a working group, I guess, who has responsibility for looking at the long-term
Federal
viability?
government? I
Just
mean, yeah, it would have to
generally.
be at a federal government level to address it because we are required to maintain the service. But it becomes one of those things where
Correct.
it's a mandate without a funding source.
Exactly.
And so we'll see what happens if people continue to cut the cord and continues to go away. It's really, at the federal level, has to be addressed. And it may be addressed by saying, there's no more funding, but you still have to do it. And at that point, we'll have to see how it gets funded.
And we've seen that show before, haven't we?
Oh, yes, we have.
Now, is this capital depreciated over time?
Is the capital depreciated?
Yeah, if we're capitalizing, I presume we're depreciating it, there must be a depreciation schedule?
Yes, I don't have that.
You know, I'm curious I'm only curious as whether it's building or it's going down, and how many years out.
Most of the capital items are relatively short-term.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of them look like you could expense them, but.
Right,
I
yeah,
guess-
that's a good point. That is a good point,
Oh.
yeah. So,
It's not being borrowed.
no.
No, it's funded from enterprise fund.
Funded within the enterprise, right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're not,
Yeah, it's capital equipment, but they're not.
but it's not
Correct.
being capitalized, it's being
Right.
expensed.
Yeah,
Right.
no.
All right.
Right, exactly.
Thank you.
No,
Exactly.
yeah, there's no depreciation schedule, there's no
Right.
debt services being done on this, no.
Thanks.
No.
I'm getting old.
Oh, those are great questions.
You and
Yeah.
me both.
All right. So that brings us to a review of the this hearing and Springtime meeting warrant article schedule. Let's briefly bring that up and update where we are currently. All right. So this evening, we've had the Finance Department, we've had the DPW, we've had PEG Access, Police and Veteran Services. That leaves for next week, we'll have the Board of Health, the Community Preservation Fund and their two articles, the library, and the Neshoba Valley School District. We were going to have the zoning bylaws, the general bylaw amendment related to the outdoor lighting next week. However, there's been a scheduling conflict that's arisen, and so there's been a request to have that instead on the 26th, which is the date we're planning on doing our review and voting on all the warrant articles. My understanding is, in speaking with Chris, is he doesn't anticipate his zoning articles to go further than about an hour, and that is currently those are currently the only things that we'll be reviewing that evening. If you recall, last year, we had, I think, 3 presentations on the evening we voted, because we were a little bit crunched on schedule. So I don't see an issue with having them in on the 26th, and still not having a meeting on the 19th, which is conflicting with the school building committee. So I think we're comfortable and they are available on that evening for those zoning bylaw amendments articles. I've reached out to the zoning bylaw amendment citizen petitioner. I haven't heard back yet, but I'll check again. to see if the 12th or the 26th is better for that presentation, or if that person wants to give a presentation at all. I don't know. But that will wrap up all of our presentations for this year. And so we will be able to vote on the 26th and be able to stay on schedule, Pam. I'll get that letter out to you so we can review and get that published and out for the Springtown meeting and the manager's session the Wednesday before. And that Wednesday before will be, what date?
Oh, the town meeting is the 27th.
So that would put it at the
22nd.
22nd. And that's at the senior center. And I highly recommend any town meeting reps listening and watching that they attend that session so that they can ask their questions and get an overview of the articles that are being reviewed, so that we go into town meeting on the 27th with a full understanding of what we're voting on. All right.
And so then we won't be meeting on the 19th.
We will not be meeting on the 19th. There is no meeting on the 19th. So we will have a meeting next week on the 12th, and then our final meeting for deliberation and the presentation of the zoning articles will be on the 26th. All right. If there's no further discussion, any public comment? Seeing none and seeing none in the Zoom, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, and it's a roll call.
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Cindy?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Elaine? Aye. And Anita?
Aye.
All right, thank you very
Aye.
much. See you next week.